जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदा नंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यामुना तीर वनचारी यामुना तीर वनचारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यामुना तीर वनचारी यामुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्णा। This is our topic for today, the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. The very word Srimad means beautiful, glorious, that which is very shining and bright, very pleasing. All these are the meaning of Srimad. And Bhagavatam means that which is related to Bhagavan, that which is related to Sri Krishna. So before we learn more about Bhagavatam, I would like to recite some Mangalacharna prayers. The shlokas are visible on the screen. You all can also read along with me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swamin Iti Namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. नामश्रेष्ठम् अनुमपि शचीपुत्रमत्र स्वरूपम् रूपं तस्याग्रजमुरुपुरीं माथुरीं गोष्ठवाटीं राधाकुण्डं गिरिवरमहो राधिका माधवाशां प्राप्तो यस्य प्रतितकृपया श्रीगुरुं तं नतोऽस्मि. This shloka may be a little new shloka to many of us, so I would like to quickly tell the meaning. Prapto yasya pratita kripaya Shri Gurum tam natosmi. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Shri Guru, because of whose profound mercy I have achieved all this. What did the author achieve? Nama Shreshtam, the best of the names, the holy names, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Sachiputram atra swarupam, rupam tasyagrajam. We got to know about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Swarupa Damodara Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and his elder brother Sanatana Goswami. Urupurim, Mathurim, Goshtavatim. We came to know about the glories of Vrindavana, Dwaraka, and Mathura. And we have developed a small hope, Asha, of worshipping Radha Kunda, Girivara Govardhana, and Sri Radhika and Madhava, by whose profound mercy I have obtained all this. Unto Sri Guru, I offer my respectful obeisances. This is a prayer to the devotees from Sri Rasikananda Prabhu's Bhagavatashtaka. Krishna danyamajanatakshanamapi swapnehi vishveshware tasmin bhakti mahaitu kim vidadate ritkaya vagbhisada Shrilan sadguna punjakeli nilayan premavataranaham Vande Bhagavatani Mananulavam Murdhna Nipatyakshtau. The wonderful devotees of the Lord, Krishna Danyam Ajanatakshanamapi Swapnepi Vishveshware. Even for a moment, they do not know anything other than Krishna. Krishna Danyam Ajanata, they do not know anything other than Krishna. Swapnepi Vishveshware, even in their dreams, they are thinking of the Supreme Lord. Tasmin Bhakti Mahitukim Vidadato, even in the dreams, with their Hrit, Kaya and Vak, with their body, mind and words, they are performing Ahaituki Bhakti to the Supreme Lord. Shrilan Sadguna Punjakeli Nilayan, these beautiful personalities, these glorious personalities are a Nilaya. Nilaya means the abode of all good qualities. And they are Premavataran, they are the very manifestations of the Supreme Lord's love. Onto those Bhagavatas, onto those devotees, Iman Anulavam, even for a moment, if I am lucky that I am able to pay my obeisances, Murdna Nipatyakshtau, I touch my forehead to the ground and offer my obeisances to these wonderful devotees of the Lord. Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavadatau Sankirtanaika pitarau kamalayatakshav Vishwambarau Dvijavarau Yugadharma palau Vande Jagat Priyakarau Karunavatarau Jayatam Suratau Pangor Mama Mandamater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojau Radha Madana Mohanau Neelachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha Ekena Chakrama Parena Karena Shankam Anyena Sindhu Tanayama Valambhya Tishtan Vami Tarena Varada Bhaya Padma Chihnam Lakshmi Nrusimha Mama Dehi Karavalambam. Hare Krishna. So our topic today is the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the Vedic literature, we have various sections. The Shrutis, the Smrutis, the Puranas, Itihasas. For a work to be called as Purana, what quality should it have? What kind of books do we call as Puranas? When is a work called as a Mahapurana? And what is the Purana Tilaka? Let's first acquaint ourselves with these terminology. The Matsya Purana and Garuda Purana give a definition to the Purana. Sargascha, Pratisargascha, Vamsho Manvantaranicha, Vamshanucharitam Chaiva Puranam Panchalakshanam. Puranam is that book which has these 5 qualities. It describes Sarga, Pratisarga, Vamsha, Manvantara and Vamshanucharita. What is Sarga? Sarga is creation. Pratisarga is destruction, annihilation. And then Vamsha, Vamshas of great kings, Rajarshis and great sages, and the Manvantras. Every Brahma's day, the Kalpa has 14 Manus ruling. So a Purana should, along with the creation, annihilation, and the dynasties of great kings, and it should also describe about the 14 Manvantras, the Manus and the Manuputras and things like that. And Vamshanucharitam, not only giving the dynasties, but the stories of the great kings in those dynasties are also described by Puranas. So any book that describes these 5 is called a Purana. Sorry, excuse me. Is called a Purana. A Purana has these 5 qualities. But we have 18 big books called the Mahapuranas, Padma Purana, Brahmam, Padmyam, Vaishnavam, Cha, Shaivam, Laingam, Sagarudam. Srimad Bhagavatam is giving a list of 18 Mahapuranas. For a Purana to be a Mahapurana, it needs to have 10 qualities. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, 7th chapter, 9th and 10th verses, they are giving us what are the 10 qualities of a Mahapurana. The 5 qualities of a Purana are creation, annihilation, dynasties, the Manvantaras, and the stories of the great kings in the dynasties. These 5 qualities make a book a Purana. A Mahapuranas are 18 in number. These 18 are divided into Satvika, Rajasika and Tamasika Puranas. Satvika Puranas primarily glorify Lord Vishnu, and Garuda Purana, Vishnu Purana, Naradiya Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, these are all predominantly Satvika Puranas. For a Purana to be a Mahapurana, it should have all these 10 qualities. Sargosyata Visargascha, Vritti Rakshantaranicha, Vamsho Vamshanucharitam, Samstha Heturapashrayaha, Dashabir Lakshanayuktam, Puranam Tadvido Viduhu. Tadvido Viduhu, those who are learned, they are telling that Dasabir Lakshanayuktam, if these 10 qualities are there, then a Purana is called Kechit Panchavidam Brahman Mahadalpa Vyavastaya. If there are Dasha Lakshanas, it is called a Mahapurana. If the Lakshanas are Panchavidam, 5 types as told in the shloka before, it is a Upapurana, small Purana. So Dashabir Lakshanay, Mahad Purana, Panchavidam Lakshanay, it is a Alpa Purana. So Sarga, Visarga, Vritti, Raksha, Antarani, Vamsha, Vamshanucharitam, Samstha, Hetu and Apashraya. These are the 10 Lakshanas of a Mahapurana. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a Mahapurana. That means all these 10 qualities are there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Ival class ledamma. Come back tomorrow. Sarga is creation. Visarga is secondary creation. Sarga is creation of the universe, and Visarga is creation of the beings and the worlds within the universe. What exactly Brahma does. Sarga is creation of the universes from Karnodaka Sai Vishnu, and Visarga is the creation of within the Brahmanda, what all happens, what Brahma exactly does. That is Visarga. Then Sarga, Visarga, Vritti, Raksha, Antarani is Manvantaras, and Vritti is maintenance. How the Supreme Lord is maintaining all these as Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, and as how he is protecting and sustaining us as Paramatma and Shirodaka Sai Vishnu. And then Vamshas. Vamshas are great dynasties. Vamshanucharitam is the stories of the kings who are born in these great dynasties from whom we learn lessons. And then Samstha is destruction or annihilation. Hetu is the cause. By what motive? Hetu is the motive by which we all act in the material world. And Apashraya is the ultimate refuge, Sri Krishna. So 10th canto mainly discusses Apashraya, the Ashraya or Apashraya, the Samam Bonam, Lord Sri Krishna. So these 10 Lakshanas or characteristics have to be there for a work to be called as Mahapurana. So we know what's the Purana, what's the Mahapurana, and now let's see what's the Purana Tilaka. Tilaka is something we wear it on the head, right? Something which is upmost, best jewel, chudamani, and then what else do we call? Chudamani, Sikhamani. All these are the tilakam. These are the words used to describe the best of the Lord. So of the 18 Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam is Purana Tilakam. Where do we get this word from? Purana Tilakam. Sri Srinath Chakravarti was a Gaudiya Vaishnava who was a contemporary of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wrote a commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam that is very pleasing to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A Gaudiya Vaishnava commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam by Srinath Chakravarti. The name of the commentary is Chaitanya Manjusha. In the Chaitanya Manjusha, in the introduction, he has put this shloka. Srimad Bhagavatam Purana Tilakam Yadvaishnava Dhanam Yasmin Paramahamsyamekamalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyama Vishkritam Tachrunvan Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuche Naraha. Srimad Bhagavatam Purana Tilakam, this crest jewel of the Puranas called Srimad Bhagavatam, it is the real treasure of all the Vaishnavas. The devotees love this book. Why? In this book, there is detail given which is meant for the Paramahamsas. Oh, then why are we reading this? Because whoever reads this, Srimad Bhagavatam has the potency to make them also Paramahamsas. Yes, mean Paramahamsam ekam amalam jnanam. There is spotless knowledge. Param Giyate, spotless transcendental knowledge is sung in the pages of this book. Tatra and more, Tatra is there. Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmya Mahavishkrutam. So Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us how to perform Naishkarmya. Naishkarmya is do your duty, but you don't get any result. You do it, there is Jnana and Vairagya coming as a sub-product, byproduct, and Bhakti is the main principle. It is teaching you Jnana, Vairagya and Bhakti. With all these, how do you perform Naishkarmya? You do your duty, but you do it as an offering to Krishna and you don't reap any reactions out of those actions. Tachrunvan, when you listen to this, Supatan, when you nicely read and do Adhyayana of this book, Vicharana Paro, you become thoughtful and you become a devotee. Because of the devotion, Vimuche Naraha, you get liberated. Liberated according to Srimad Bhagavatam is anyway situating ourselves in the constitutional position. Muktirhit Vanyata Rupam Swarupena Vyavastitihi. So according to Srimad Bhagavata, Vimochana or Mukti is becoming a servant of the Supreme Lord, being situated in the constitutional position of Sri Krishna's eternal servant. So when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we are bound to be liberated. That is, we will be definitely situated in our constitutional position of loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. This is from Chaitanya Manjusha of Srinath Chakravarti. So now we know why Bhagavatam is Purana Tilakam. And why should we read Srimad Bhagavatam? Because we are all following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are all following Rupa Goswami. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, this is also from Chaitanya Manjusha of Srinath Chakravarti. He has put in 4 lines what is the whole philosophy of the Chaitanya cult. He's saying, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam. Please look at the 4th line. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradara Napara. This is the philosophy propounded by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanaya Taddama Vrindavanam. You have to worship the Supreme Lord as Brajesha Tanaya, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Taddama Vrindavanam. Also worshipable is his divine abode Vrindavana. Okay, we worship Vrindavana. We worship the Supreme Lord Krishna as Brajesha Tanaya, Nanda Nandana, the son of the cowherd chief Nanda Maharaj. But how do we worship him? Ramyakachid upasana Vrajavadu Vargenaya Kalpita. So you worship him beautifully as done by the Vrajavadus, as the Ballavis, as the cowherd women, as the gopis. So the way you worship the Vrajesha Tanaya is the way showed by the gopis. And then Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. Epistemology always tells you have to decide the pramana. You have to decide the basis on which you are going to decide what is right and what is wrong. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us Srimad Bhagavatam as the spotless pramana. If you have any doubt, there is some variation with other scriptures, or any two scholars are differing in their opinion, we refer to the Srimad Bhagavatam. What Srimad Bhagavatam says is the final. Let me give you a small example. Vishnu Purana says that Subhadra Mai is the daughter of Vasudeva. We all know she is the daughter of Vasudeva, but Vishnu Purana says Subhadra Mai is the daughter of Rohini and Vasudeva. Srimad Bhagavatam says she is the daughter of Devaki and Vasudeva. So the devotees will take the opinion from Srimad Bhagavatam, and we worship Subhadra Mai as the Tanuja of Devaki Devi. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan. Pumartha is the Purusharthas. Because you have a human form of life, you have to achieve Dharmartha Kama Moksha. That is the general notion. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told us that the very purpose of human form of life is to achieve prema, is to achieve love of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam is the Amala Pramana, and achieving love of Godhead is the very purpose of human form of life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam Tatradarana. This is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we read Srimad Bhagavatam because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has ordained us to do it. These are very special prayers from Sri Krishna Leela Stava of Sri Sanatana Goswami. Sri Sanatana Goswami has made this Krishna Leela Stava book into 108 sections. Each section he calls it an obeisance. And in each section, he glorifies a particular pastime of Krishna. And one section there is the prayers to Jagannatha. In one section, there's prayers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. This is the section where he's offering his prayers to Srimad Bhagavatam. Why I chose this section to present today is, he very nicely brings out all the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam in just 5 verses. Very nice prayers. We'll all read together. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedaika Satphala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya Sarva Lokaika Dhrikprada. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha. If all the literatures are an ocean, and this Piyusha is when you churn the ocean, the Sara comes out as nectar, as Amrita. Piyusha is Amrita, nectar. So if all the scriptures are ocean, when you churn them, you get the essence, the nectar. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. Sarva Vedaika Satphala. This is similar to the Nigamakalpataror of the Srimad Bhagavatam. All the Vedas are a wonderful tree, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the best fruit, the ripe fruit of the Veda Taru. Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya. There may be so many stones, but Ratna or the diamond has its specialty. Out of all the Siddhantas available, the Bhakti Siddhanta propounded by Srimad Bhagavatam is like Ratna. It's a diamond. It's the best. Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. Srimad Bhagavatam provides direction to all the planets, all the lokas. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidvantoditaditya Sri Krishna Parivartita. Sarva Bhagavata Prana, it is the very life of all the devotees. Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu, we are calling Srimad Bhagavatam as Prabhu. O Srimad Bhagavata, O my worshipable Lord. Kalidvantoditaditya Sri Krishna Parivartita. When the Kali darkness dawned, Sri Krishna's transformation, the Srimad Bhagavatam has arisen. Kalidvanto, as Kali dawned, as Kali darkness came, the transformation of Sri Krishna, the other form of Sri Krishna called Bhagavatam, the Bhagavata sun arose to give us light, to give us direction. Paramananda Pataya. Okay, all this is good, but why should I read? When we read Paramananda Pataya, you feel very joyful. It gives you very high bliss. Prema Varshaksharayate. Every syllable in the Srimad Bhagavatam is showering love of Godhead. We come to know of Krishna's love for us, and our dormant love for Krishna also awakens when we read Srimad Bhagavatam. Why is he coming in so many avatars? Once he's wearing a fish dress, once he comes in a tortoise dress, once he's coming in a half man, half lion dress, sometimes he's coming as a dwarf Brahmana. When we read all this, oh, he's coming so many times to give us opportunity to talk about him, glorify him, thus develop a taste to go back to him. No, when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, oh, Krishna loves me so much, and our dormant love for Krishna also awakens. prema varshaksharayate. Sarvada sarva sevyaya. At all times and all places and all ways, he is to be worshipped. We are actually offering, Sanatana Goswami is offering obeisances to Bhagavatam. But he's telling Sri Krishnaya Namostume. Oh Lord Sri Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you. This phrase clarifies that Sri Krishna and Srimad Bhagavatam are non-different. Srimad Bhagavatam is Sri Krishna. He is offering obeisances to Bhagavata Prabhu, but he is telling Sri Krishnaya Namostume. Srimad Bhagavatam and Lord Krishna are non-different. Madeka Bando, Matsangin, Madguro, Man Mahadana, Man Nistaraka, Madbhagya, Madananda Namostute. Madeka Bando, you are my only relative. Matsangin, my only friend. Madguru, my master, my teacher. Mad Mahadana, my greatest treasure. Man Nistaraka. Nistaraka is to cross over. That you are the one who will help me cross over this material world. Madananda, my bliss, my happiness. Namostute, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. And the fifth one is my favorite. And this is one reason why I read these prayers every day. There is a student who is getting 70 out of 100 in every subject. He joins a tuition and then he is getting 90 marks. So there's nothing special about the teacher or the tuition. There is a dull head. He's 25 marks, very difficult he is getting. When he goes to this tuition to the teacher, he starts getting 90 marks. Isn't that very special? So Srimad Bhagavatam is like that. Though we are of the lowest consciousness, though we have no qualification to glorify the devotees or the Supreme Lord or remember his pastimes, but when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, it makes the lowest of the persons come to the highest platform of the devotee of the Supreme Lord. It will give sadhuta to asadhus. Asadhu is one who is not a sadhu. Sadhuta is the quality of a sadhu. Asadu sadhuta dayin ati nichottakara hana muncha kada chinmam premna hritkantayospuram. Oh Bhagavata Prabhu, you give sadhuta, you give virtue to the asadhus, to one who is not a sadhu. Ati nichottakara, you are the uplifter of the most fallen. Hana muncha kadachin mam. Hana muncha, oh, please don't leave me. Kadachin, don't leave me ever. Premna hrit kantayospuha, I will wear you on my neck with great love. Wearing in the neck doesn't mean that we tie it to a thread and wear some verses. We learn them by heart and we recite them every day and we try to apply the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam in our life. That way we will definitely be actually serving Sri Krishna himself by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Can we read these prayers once again? Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedaika Satphala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya Sarva Lokaika Drikprada Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidvantoditaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varshaksharayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume Madeka Bando Matsangin Madguro Man Mahadana Mannistaraka Madbhagya Madananda Namostute Asadu Sadhu Tadayin Ati Nichottakara Hana Muncha Kadachin Mam Premna Hritkantayospuram. Srimad Bhagavatam is glorified in many scriptures. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 25:150 says, Shri Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarupa Shri Bhagavata Tate Veda Shastra Haite Parama Mahatva. Srimad Bhagavatam gives direct information of the melo derived from Shri Krishna. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is above all other Vedic literatures. Derived from, by serving Shri Krishna, the melo what we get, the happiness what we get, that direct information is given by Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the reason Chaitanya Charitamrita ranks Srimad Bhagavatam above all Vedic literatures. This verse is spoken by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Sanatana Goswami. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu time and again he is telling us that Srimad Bhagavatam is the best of the Vedic literatures. It is the best of the Puranas. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he used to go to Tota Gopinath temple and read Srimad Bhagavatam every day with Gadadhara Pandita. And this is from Garuda Purana. Garuda Purana is quoted by Srila Sanatana Goswami in Haribhakti Vilasa, and that is the verse number. Artoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Vinirnayaha Gayatri Bhashya Ruposo Vedartha Paribrahmhita Purananam Samarupaha Sakshat Bhagavatoditaha Dwadasha Skanda Yuktoyam Chatavicheda Samyutaha Granto Ashtadasa Sahasraha Srimad Bhagavatabhidham. It says that scripture Artoyam Brahma Sutranam. Brahma Sutras are the Vedanta Sutras. Atato Brahma Jigyasa, they start with that. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural commentary by the author Vedavyasa himself on the Brahma Sutras. So what is told in the Vedanta Sutras, that is very nicely explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bharatartha Vinirnaya. So what to make of the meanings and the lessons from the Mahabharata, how to understand it, how to adapt it. So the conclusions of the meanings in the Mahabharata are given by Srimad Bhagavatam. Gayatri Bhashya Ruposo. Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary on the Gayatri Mantra. This one thing I didn't understand for many days. Recently, Pavaneshwar Prabhu was here to explain us the Bhagavata cosmology. When he was explaining the Bhagavata cosmology, he told us that the rays of the sun will illumine only Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka and Svarloka. Above Svarloka, the other planets are all self-effulgent. They don't need sunlight. And the planets below are all underground. So they don't need sunlight. So sun mainly illuminates these three areas. This is there in the Bhagavatam 5th canto. So these three lokas are Bhu, Bhuvar, Swar. That's why the Gayatri Mantra starts with Om, Bhur, Bhuvar, Swaha. So only this much I could research into the Gayatri Mantra. But Gayatri Bhashya Rupo. So when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, the Gayatri Mantra is also well explained. There are some Dhyana shlokas people recite generally before doing their Gayatri, which is glorifying the Supreme Lord in the sun globe. And they say that, and they offer obeisances to all the Brahmanas who are there in between the Loka mountains and from Brahmaloka to the Sesha. To know that why are they mentioning these four things and offering obeisances to the Brahmanas in between? When we read the 5th canto, we understand that those are the boundaries of the material world, of the Brahmanda. So in this way, Srimad Bhagavatam is explaining the Gayatri Mantra. It's a complete commentary on the Gayatri Mantra. Vedartha Paribrahmhita. Paribrahmhita means actually supplement. What is already told in the Vedas, the meaning of the Vedas is supported by the Srimad Bhagavatam. Purananam Samarupaha. Instead of reading all the Puranas, it is enough if we just read the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sakshat Bhagavatodita. This is spoken by the Supreme Lord himself. Supreme Lord spoke to Brahma, Brahma spoke to Narada, then Narada advised Vyasa to compile this Srimad Bhagavatam. It is Dwadasha Skanda Yuktoyam. It has 12 cantos. Shata Vicheda Samyuta. There are 100 sections. And then Ashtadasa Sahasra Grantaha. It has 18,000 shlokas. That is the book called Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatabhidham. That is the book known as Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, Garuda Purana is glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Padma Purana is also glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. In Padma Purana, there is a section dedicated to Srimad Bhagavatam called the Srimad Bhagavata Mahima. So the Bhagavata Mahima from Padma Purana, there is an interesting story which we will be hearing very soon. Before that, Padma Purana says that Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Sri Krishna himself. The 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, Padma Purana is equating to the various beautiful parts of the Supreme Lord's transcendental body. Let's look at that shloka now. Adau yadiyo pratama dvitiyo. First and the second cantos of the Bhagavatam are Sri Krishna's lotus feet. So we always used to think Lakshmi Devi is present at Lord's lotus feet. So she is having access to Lord's lotus feet. She is able to do Pada Sevanam. So if we want to do Pada Sevanam, what do we do? Everybody is not having access to deities. If deities are there, we serve the lotus feet of the deities. But the first two cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam are non-different from Sri Krishna's lotus feet. So when we are reading the first two cantos, we are directly serving the Lord's lotus feet. Similarly, when we are worshipping Ganga, when we are worshipping Tulasi, they're all always there at the lotus feet of the Lord. When we are worshipping Guru Maharaj, when we are worshipping Srila Prabhupada, they're all always at Krishna's lotus feet. So when we worship Prabhupada, when we are worshipping Guru Maharaj, when we are worshipping Tulasi, when we are worshipping the Ganges, and when we are reading the first two cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we are serving the Lord's beautiful lotus feet. Padau Yadiyo, Pratama Dvitiyo, the first two cantos, the first and the second cantos, Pratama Dvitiyo, Padau, are the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Tritiya Turyau Katitau Yaduru, Turya is 4. Tritiya is 3. The third and the fourth cantos are Uru, are his thighs. Nabhistata Panchamaye Vasashtau. The fifth canto is his navel. And Tata, next, and his heart is the sixth canto. Fifth canto is the Supreme Lord's navel, and sixth canto is his heart. Nabhistata Panchamaye Vasashtau Bhujantaram Doryugalam Tatanyo. The seventh and eighth canto are his arms, are his shoulders. Kantasturajan Navamoyadiyo. Ninth canto is his beautiful Kambugriva, his neck, conch-shaped neck. Why the Lord's neck is always compared to a conch is, like the conch, his neck always has 3 beautiful lines. So the ninth canto is compared to the neck of the Supreme Lord. Mukha Ravindam Dashamam Prafullam. The 10th canto is the full bloomed lotus face of the Supreme Lord. Ekadasho Yasya Lalata Pattam. 11th canto is his forehead. Tiropi Yadvadashayeva Bhati. The 12th canto is his head. Amadidevam Karunanidanam Tamalavarnam Suhitavataram. Onto that Adideva, the Supreme Lord, Karunanidanam, the very abode of mercy. Tamalavarnam Suhitavataram. He is in the dark color of a Tamala Vriksha. And Suhitavataram, he always appears all of us. His very form is our welfare. Para samsara samudra setum. He is the bridge to cross over this samsara, this material ocean. Bhajamahi Bhagavata Swarupam. To Sri Krishna, who is non-different from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the very self of Sri Krishna. Bhajamahi, I worship. Apara samsara samudra setum bhajamahe bhagavata swarupam. The Padma Purana explains that Sri Krishna and Srimad Bhagavatam are non-different. Now let's listen to the interesting story from Padma Purana, which is telling more about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam to us. This is Padma Purana Antargata Bhagavata Mahatmya, the story of Dundukari and Gokarna. All of you must have heard it many times, but I thought too many shlokas will make the session little boring. So I thought little story will be nice for the ladies. So the story of Dundukari and Gokarna. In South India, on the banks of river Tunga, this is a story from the Bhagavata Mahatmya section of Padma Purana. On the banks of river Tungabhadra, there lived a Sad Brahmana, a very virtuous Brahmana called Atmadeva. Atmadeva's wife Dunduli was from a nice family. She was a very beautiful lady, but she was very irritable and a very weird lady. Not very obedient and not soft spoken, but she was beautiful. Atmadeva was very virtuous. He did all his Brahminical duties very well, but he was always very sad because he never had any children. And also whenever he brought some cow home, the cow also became barren. The cow never had any children. So he was very sad. Atmadeva was really very sad because without putra, he cannot get relief from the Punnama Naraka. So one day he went to see a sadhu. The sadhu read the lines on his forehead and told, "My dear Atmadeva, why do you want to get into this complicated samsara? If you do not have children, take that as an advantage to worship the Supreme Lord. One who surrenders to the Supreme Lord, there is no other refuge required for liberation. You please concentrate your mind, body, and words on the Supreme Lord, so much the sadhu will preach him. He says, from looking at the lines on your forehead, I see that for the next 7 lifetimes, you do not have any progeny, my son. So you please focus your energy on worshipping the Supreme Lord. But Atmadeva is in very despair. He wants a son. Said, my dear sage, you are such a self-realized person. You are a great personality. With your virtue, with your austerity, with your tapaphala, can't you bless me with a son? I am bent upon having a son. Then otherwise, I'm going to give up my life now. He started talking like that. Then Atmadeva, looking at Atmadeva's determined stand, the Rishi provides him with a fruit. And he says that if you go give this fruit to your wife Dunduli, then she will bear a virtuous son. But when after taking this fruit, she has to follow some austerity, she has to be pious, and she has to be in Sattva Guna, and there are some rules and regulations. And Atmadeva is very happy. He takes the fruit from the sadhu, and he starts to go back home. The sage calls him back and told, "You will definitely have a son because of this fruit, but you will not be, you will not get any happiness because of that son's birth." But Atmadeva is very happy that he's going to have a son. So he takes the fruit and he goes home, gives the fruit to his wife, Dunduli. Dunduli, she's a very weird lady. She starts thinking, now if I eat this fruit and I conceive, then when I become pregnant, I cannot walk fast. So the relatives will come and take all the grocery from home. I'll not be able to eat much. And all these things, strange things she starts thinking. She does not want to have children. But this fruit is the tapaphala of the sage. She didn't know what to do. At that time, her sister visits her. She comes to know that the sister is pregnant. The sister is as vile as Dunduli. So the sister says that I am not very rich. I am my husband is so poor. You give that fruit to somebody else, and when I give birth to a child, I'll tell everybody that my child died. You act as if you're pregnant, and I will give you my child. You can bring up my child as your child. You can still eat well because you're not really pregnant, and you can show your husband that my son is your son. Both the sisters like the idea very much. So this Dunduli, what she does, she takes the fruit and she feeds it to the cow in the house. So after some days, Dunduli's sister gives birth to a nice son. And after that boy, Dunduli names him as Dundukari. This Dundukari is, Atmadeva is very happy that Dundukari is born. 3 months after Dundukari is born, the cow in Atmadeva's house, she gives birth to a very beautiful, effulgent boy. The boy is a human child, but he has the ears of a cow because he's born of the Gomata. Because his ears are like cow, he names Atmadeva names the boy as Gokarna. When as they grow up, Gokarna also he's born to the cow. Atmadeva is very happy. Finally, the cow also bore children. So the cow also bore this beautiful boy. Both the children, Atmadeva brings up as his own children. But it comes out in such a way that this Dundukari, he becomes a pakka rogue. He's always stealing from other people, and always he's very quarrelsome. No, that was the mentality of Dunduli's sister, no. So he's not very virtuous. He's a very vicious person. But Gokarna, because he's born of the tapaphala of the sage, he's always inclined towards scriptures. He's very sattvic, and he's always helping and always reading scriptures. He was very similar to Atmadeva. Looking at Dundukari, Atmadeva becomes very, very sad. He's very upset that the boy is so bad. He spends all the money in the house, and one day he even hits his father, takes all the vessels and all those things from the house for his pleasures. So because Gokarna is very inclined towards self-realization, and he was very renounced and a detached kind of a boy. So he seeks Atmadeva's permission and he leaves to Prayaga. He goes for higher studies and he wants to read more Vedanta and devotional scriptures and all that. And Atmadeva is very sad at Dundukari's behavior and he leaves to the forest. And one day Atmadeva gives up his life. Dundukari's mother also dies, and then there is now nobody to restrict Dundukari. He brings 5 prostitutes home, and to entertain the prostitutes, he starts robbing people and then doing all the bad things in the sin dictionary. Then he starts robbing people and everybody is talking bad about him. What a glorious father, what a horrible son, like that they're talking. So what happens, one day these prostitutes are thinking this Dundukari goes out to bring money for buying something for them. So these 5 prostitutes think now everybody has come to know that this fellow is a big rogue. One day the king and the soldiers will come to catch him because we are staying with him. They will take us also and put us behind bars. We'll be in prison. So what we should do is whatever little wealth is remaining, let's take that and run away. Before that, let's kill this fellow. So when he comes home, these 5 prostitutes, what they do, they tie a noose to his neck and try to kill him. But this fellow is such a strong life. He's not giving up his life. Then they bring hot coals and put in his mouth. And this fellow, he dies because he died with so much suffering and so much of material desire still remaining. He becomes a preta. He becomes a ghost. So now Dundukari is ghost. He's moving around that house only, Atmadeva's house, as a ghost. Somebody from the village goes to Prayaga someday. They see Gokarna and they say that your father went away and then your brother also died. Your brother died a very horrible death. Then Gokarna is a sadhu by nature, no? He feels he feels compassion for his brother, and then he goes to Gaya and offers Gaya Shraddha to his brother so that he'll be redeemed of all his sinful actions. Then he keeps traveling, giving katha everywhere, Gokarna. One day he comes back to his own village. So he silently goes to his house and he's resting on in the front place of his house. Then suddenly he hears a voice, Gokarna, my brother. Gokarna is alarmed. Who's calling me in this isolated place? Then he says, it's me, Dundukari. I said, oh brother, how come you are here? He says, for all the horrible things I did, I have become a ghost, brother. Please do something to help me. Please save me. I am unable to tolerate this pain of being a ghost. So I go. Why the ghost is in pain? The subtle body is still there. There are a lot of desires. There's so much of hankering, but to fulfill all those, there's no gross body. So that is the suffering of a ghost. So Gokarna is very surprised. How come all the ablutions I have given, I even did Gaya Shraddha, I went and offered all prayers at Gaya. How come you are not liberated? I'm very surprised. He says, I've been such a horrible fellow. I've been so bad, and my vice is so heavy that even your Gaya Shraddha couldn't liberate me. Please do something to help me. I'm really suffering. So devotees Paradukka Dukki Gokarna was very much pained when he came to know that his brother is in such a pitiable situation. Then he inquires from all the elders, from the teachers and everybody, and they tell him that hearing to Srimad Bhagavatam is the only way to liberate Dundukari from his ghostly state. Then immediately Gokarna becomes very joyful that he has found a remedy to liberate his brother. He immediately calls all the elders in the village. He plans for a Bhagavata Saptaha. There's a nice Bhagavata Mandapa arranged. They smear cow dung and nice rangolis are all put, and there are all mango leaves decorated, and all auspicious things are put. And then this ghostly Dundukari comes there, but he has no body. So he takes shelter of a bamboo stick. The bamboo stick had 7 partitions. That was there. That was one of the pillars of the mandapa. So this Dundukari goes and takes shelter in that bamboo, which has 7 partitions, and he stays there. And he's listening. Everybody in the village is invited. Everybody is listening. Gokarna is reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam. Everybody is listening, and Dundukari is listening with rapt attention, because Gokarna told him, "My dear brother, you please hear to these wonderful scriptures, the glories of the Supreme Lord, with all your heart, because this is the only remedy to your ghostly state. This is the only way that will give you liberation. This is the only way that will end your suffering." And in 7 days, beautifully, with all his heart, Gokarna explains the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. As the first day recitation narration is over, one part of the bamboo stick just crumbles and falls off. Second day, the second part. Third day, the third part. Fourth day, the fourth part. Then in 7 days, when all the 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam is narrated by Gokarna, a beautiful divine effulgent form emerges from the bamboo. That is Dundukari in a very divine form. He comes and he offers his obeisances to Gokarna. He expresses his gratitude, "Dear brother, by hearing to Srimad Bhagavatam, I have been liberated from my ghostly form." Meanwhile, everybody see that there is a Vimana coming from Vaikunta and there are two Vishnu Dutas. Gokarna was very surprised. He had a doubt. He asked the Vishnu Dutas, "My dear sirs, along with my brother Dundukari in his ghostly form, all these people have heard Srimad Bhagavatam. But why is it that you have brought only one Vimana for Dundukari? What about the all others who have heard the Srimad Bhagavatam attentively?" Then the Vishnu Dutas reply that all of them have heard. Some of them have heard just to see what is there. Some of them have heard thinking that let everybody is going, let me also go. Some people thought, why simply stay at home and while away time? I will go and sit there. It will give me some punya. And some people are here, but they're hearing well. But once they go home, they didn't recollect. They didn't do manana. They did shravana, but they didn't do manana. They didn't introspect on what they have heard. They didn't remember and re-remember what they have heard. That is the difference between Dundukari's hearing and the hearing of all others. That is why Dundukari has the fortune of going back to Vaikunta. The others are still in line. So when Gokarna came to know this, Dundukari leaves to Vaikunta. Then Gokarna again, he gives the Bhagavata Saptaha. He again starts to narrate Bhagavatam. This time everybody is hearing with rapt attention and is contemplating and doing thorough manana, is hearing and meditating and thoroughly remembering the Supreme Lord with all their heart. And then at the end of the second time Bhagavata narration, there are so many Vaikunta Vimanas there to take all the people who have heard from Gokarna, and the Supreme Lord himself comes to take Gokarna back to Vaikunta, because Gokarna has caused all of them to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Sri Krishna, and by carefully not only hearing, making others to hear, but by contemplating and trying to apply the Bhakti Siddhanta, the devotional service principle, what are told in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we will surely attain the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu. Here is the Vimana coming for everybody in the village. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. This is the story from the Padma Purana. Garuda Purana is glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Charitamrita is glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Haribhakti Vilasa is glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Manjusha is glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. We have seen Padma Purana is thoroughly glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. Now let's see Srimad Bhagavatam glorifying itself. All the other scriptures are glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavatam itself is also glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुका. Bhavuka, if you are a rasika, if you are fond of mellows, if you are fond of rasas, you must definitely drink this juice called Bhagavatam. It is the ripened fruit of the Vedic tree, and it is when a tree is tasted by a parrot, when a fruit is tasted by a parrot, it becomes more tasty. Shuka in Sanskrit means parrot. So here Shuka is parrot, Shuka is Shukadeva Goswami. Because it has come from the mouth of Srila Sukadeva Goswami, it's become more nectarian, Drava Samyutam. If it is something it is hard, you have to chew and eat, it is difficult. It is Drava, it is like a semi-liquid. You just hear it and you and you get the full aswadana of it. You enjoy it. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. This Bhagavatam is full of all mellows. There is Karuna, there is Hasya, then there is Shringara, then there is Bhayanaka, Bibhatsa. All the rasas are there. Muhuraho, again and again. Please drink this juice of Bhagavatam. If you are a Rasika, that is what Srimad Bhagavatam is telling. This is from the first canto, first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vyasadeva wrote so many books. He divided the Vedas into 4, and then he wrote the Mahabharata as the Panchama Veda for the Stri and Shudra, for the women and the less intelligent. And then he wrote 108 Upanishads. He did all this for the benefit of the people in Kali Yuga. When we do something nice for others, no, we should actually feel happy. Little sacrifice we do, we feel so happy, we feel so good. Vyasadeva did so much. He wrote so much of literature, but he was very despondent. He was not very unhappy. There is some aghada. There is something missing. Then Sri Narada came and instructed him to compile Srimad Bhagavatam. And when he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam, he became very satisfied. Tushta. That means, despite of writing all those, he was not satisfied. So we also, even we read all those also, we will not be satisfied. When we read Srimad Bhagavatam, that will give us complete satisfaction. Rajante tavadanyani puranani satam gane yavad bhagavatam naiva shruyate amrita sagaram. Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, 13th chapter. The very title is The Glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Some shlokas I have picked up from that chapter. Rajante anyani puranani. The other Puranas will shine forth. Rajante. In the assembly of Satamgane, in the assembly of devotees, in the assembly of virtuous people, the other Puranas will shine forth only till one gets to hear the nectarian ocean of Srimad Bhagavatam. Naiva Shruyate Amrita Sagaram Bhagavatam. Till you hear the nectarian ocean called Amrita Sagara, all other Puranas will shine forth. Once you hear Srimad Bhagavatam, then the other things will not be tasty for you. Sarva Vedanta Saram hi Shri Bhagavatam ishyate Tadrasamrita Triptasya Nanyatrasya Dratikvachet. Sarva Vedanta Saram hi. Vedanta has all the essence of Vedas. And Srimad Bhagavatam has all the Sara, all the cream of the Vedanta. Tadrasamrita Triptasya, one who tastes the mellows of this Srimad Bhagavatam, Nanyatrasya Dratikvachit, he cannot relish, he cannot be fond of any other book. Nimnaganam yata ganga devanam achyuto yatam Vaishnavanam yata shambhu purananam idam tata. Nimna is going down. Nimnaga is one which flows down. A river is called Nimnaga. Of all the rivers, Ganga is the best. Of all the devatas, of all the lords, Achyuta is the best. Why Achyuta is best? To that lady, that Asadvi, Putana, she came to kill him. But he saw that she came to give him milk and he gave her the highest position of mother. Ajamila, he is actually calling his son. But he told the Vishnu Dutas, oh, he's uttering my name. You go and save him. So there is nobody. Kamba Dayalu Sharanam Rajema. Is there anybody more merciful than him? Can I surrender to anybody else? Srimad Bhagavatam says. So Devanam Achyuto Yata. Nimnaganam Yata Ganga. Devanam Achyuto Yata. Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Of all the devotees, Lord Shiva is the best. Purananam Idam Tata. Similarly, of all the Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam is the best. Of all these 4, you see, they are all special because of their connection with Lord Krishna. Ganga is special because she is born from the lotus feet of the Lord. That's why the Supreme Lord is called Ganga Janaka. Devanam Achyuto Yata, he is the Supreme Lord himself. Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Why is Lord Shiva so special? Because he is the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu. Haste Kshamala Hridirama Tattvam. In his hand, he has the chanting beads. Hridirama Tattvam. In his heart, he has Lord Rama. Jihva Grabage Vara Rama Mantram. At the tip of his tongue, he is always chanting Rama, Rama, Rama. Yan Mastake Keshava Pada Tirtham. On his head is Keshava Pada Tirtha, Ganga. Charanamrit he is putting on his head. Yan Mastake Keshava Pada Tirtham Shivam Mahabhagavatam Bhajami. Onto that great devotee Lord Shiva, I offer my obeisances. I worship him. Why we worship Shiva? Because he is the best of the devotees, because he's always chanting the Lord's names. His heart is full of the Lord. He's always taking Charnamrit on his head. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is the best because Adi Madhyavasaneshu, in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end, it is only Haris Sarvatra Giyate. The Srimad Bhagavatam is only singing the glories of Lord Hari. Deva Ramyam Ruchiram Navam Navam, Deva Shashvan Manaso Mahotsavam, Tadeva Shokar Navasoshanam Drinam, Yaduttama Shloka Yasho Nugiyate. Oh, I have to read such a big book. Will it be painful? No, no, no. This is a very beautiful book. Each time you read, Ruchirim Navam Navam, every time you enjoy new mellows, special mellows. And Tadeva Shashvan Manaso Mahotsavam. When you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is like a festival in your mind. The reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, the hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, the talking of Srimad Bhagavatam is like a festival of the mind. Tadeva Shokarnava Soshanam Drunam, of all the people, you have distress as big as the ocean. Shokarnava, ocean of distress. Soshanam, it will quickly dry up. Which one? Yaduttama Yasho Nugiyate, this Bhagavatam, which is singing the spotless Kirti, Yasha, glories of the Supreme Lord. When you hear Srimad Bhagavatam, when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, all the distress as big as ocean is dried up, and there's a constant festival in your mind, and it's very beautiful. Ramyam, Ruchiram Navam Navam. Each time you read, there is a new taste and new enjoyment. Aswadana, there's a new ruchi in the stories. So what is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and what is the benefit I get by reading Srimad Bhagavatam? The next shloka is telling about that. Adi Madhya Vasaneshu, in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. Vairagyakyana Samyutam. It is giving so many stories that explain detachment. Hari Leela Katavrata. It is about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, the writings which describe, the stories which describe Hari Leela. Amrita Nandita Satsuram. Even the great devotees, the Suris are devotees, demigods. They're all also very happy because of hearing this nectarian pastimes. Sarva Vedanta Saram, yet it is the essence of all the Vedantas. Brahmatmaikatva Lakshanam, it is non-different. Aikatva Lakshanam, it's very characteristic, it's non-different from the Supreme Brahman Shri Krishna. Vastvadvitiyam Tannishtam Advitiyam. There is no other. See, first is Pratama, then Dvitiya. There is no Dvitiya, I mean this is the one and only. There is no other scripture like Srimad Bhagavatam. Tannishtam Kaivalyaika Prayojanam. One who carefully reads Srimad Bhagavatam will definitely be liberated. I'll finish in another 4-5 minutes. Is that okay, Mataji? Another 4-5 minutes, is that okay?
Even yes, 1 hour is okay, yes, Mataji. Please continue.
Okay. So Srimad Bhagavatam is teaching us detachment. It is full of Harikatha. It is very nectarian. It is the very essence of the Vedanta Sutras. There is no other scripture like this, and it will bestow us with Kaivalya. It will bestow us with liberation. Liberation, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, is situating ourselves muktir hit vanyata rupam swarupena vyavastitihi, being situated in our constitutional position in loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam brings a revolution in the sinful life. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abaddavatyapi namanyanantasya yashonkitani yet shrunvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavam. Srimad Bhagavatam brings Janataga Viplava. It brings a revolution in sinful life. We have all seen this. We have all become sadhus just because of Srila Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports to Srimad Bhagavatam. How many lives these books and these purports have changed? What kind of people became what? And how much they have perfected their lives in devotional service. We are all seeing so many people in ISKCON, and we are all also no less than, I mean, I don't mean all of you, but at least though we have good birth, we are all born in India, but we never appreciated our scriptures, we never appreciated our culture until we, at least me, so much my parents taught, but I got to appreciate them only after reading Prabhupada's purpose to Srimad Bhagavatam. So careful reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, sincere reading of Srimad Bhagavatam will definitely bring such a profound change in everybody's life. It will bring a revolution even to sinful lives. This is Prabhupada's favorite shloka. He quotes this very humbly in the introduction to all the Bhagavatam books. Though his Bhaktivedanta purports are very scholarly, he still feels that they may be having many flaws, but still because they're all glorifying the Supreme Lord, the sadhus will still hear it, sing it, and accept it. That is Prabhupada's humility. What we discussed today, I just put some points. Why should we study the Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Sri Krishna, says the Padma Purana. It is the literary incarnation of Sri Krishna. Krishne Swadamopagate Dharma Jnanadibhisaha Kalau Nashta Drishamesha Puranarkodu Nodita. When Krishna went back to his Swadama along with Dharma and Jnana, to give light to the to people of Kali Yuga, this Purana sun, Bhagavata, has arisen. And it is the essence of all Vedic literature. We saw the verse Nigama Kalpataro. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called it the Amala Purana. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. Then by regularly hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam, pure devotional service is established in one's heart. This is an irrevocable fact. Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By reading Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no single case till now that somebody read Srimad Bhagavatam and didn't get devotion, couldn't become a bhakta. So it's an irrevocable fact. Naishtiki, one who reads Srimad Bhagavatam, he will surely attain pure devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. It is very dear to the devotees. It teaches knowledge, renunciation, and devotion, and thus leads to liberation. We just now looked at the shloka Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarimyam Avishkritam Tat Shrunvan Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchen Naraha. It leads to liberation. It glorifies the divine qualities of Lord Uttama Shloka. It is nectarian, ever fresh, full of mellows, and it dries up even ocean of grief and is a festival to the mind. Tadeva Ramyam Ruchiram Navam Navam Tadeva Shashvan Manaso Mahotsavam Tadeva Shokar Navasoshanam Drinam Yaduttama Shloka Yasho Nugiyate. And one who diligently reads the Srimad Bhagavatam goes back home, back to Godhead. Here are some shlokas which we can read as Falashruti. By reading Bhagavatam, what do we gain? Yayetat Shravaye Nityam Yamakshenamananyadhi Shlokamekam Tadardam Va Padam Padardam Eva Va Shraddhavan Yo Anushrunuyat Punatyatmanam Eva Saha. Why I put so many shlokas is, it is because of this shloka. This shloka says that one who with undeviating attention constantly recites this literature at every moment and every hour, as well as one who faithfully hears even one verse, shlokam ekam tadardam, or half of a shloka, padam, or padam is 1/4. A shloka consists of 4 parts. Each line is called a padam. Padam is a quarter. Okay. Pavu antam kada in Telugu. So padam or padardam, 1/4 of a shloka or half of that 1/4. Shraddhavan yo anushrunuyat, one who even recites or carefully hears, punati atmanam eva saha, he definitely purifies his very self. If even just a line of Srimad Bhagavatam or half a line of a shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam can purify ourselves, so I thought it will be a good opportunity to hear as many shlokas as possible, so that I'll be able to purify myself well enough to read Srimad Bhagavatam again. That's why I put lot of shlokas. So if it's been too much of shlokas, please forgive me for that. Purana Samhitametam Aditya Prayato Dvijaha Proktam Bhagavata Yattu Tatpadam Paramam Vrajet. A Brahmana who diligently reads this essential compilation of all Purana, of all the Puranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is a compilation of the essence of all Puranas. We'll go to the supreme destination with the Supreme Lord himself as herein described. The destination with the Lord is describing as his Dhamma. One will attain that Dhamma by reading this Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yadvaishnavānam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyamekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyama Vishkritam Tatshunvan Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuche Naraha. We already discussed this shloka. This is a small, spotless Purana, very dear to the devotees. And if we read this book, we also become very dear to the devotees. And one realization I have with the regular reading of Srimad Bhagavatam is there's always happiness. And the devotees whom I have seen who are regularly reading Srimad Bhagavatam, they're happy, contented, and they are also able to inspire other devotees very easily. Anybody who's regularly reading Srimad Bhagavatam, the other name for the devotee is happy devotee. That is what I have seen over years. Please, all of you bless me that I be a happy devotee by regularly reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And if I've tried to present anything more than my realization, please forgive me. And actually, so many everybody actually is a senior to me. I take this as an opportunity to present what I have learned. And if there are any mistakes, please correct me. If there are any questions or comments, we can take now. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Seeking your blessings time and again. Hare Krishna. Tatsat Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you so much,
Mataji. Very
Mataji.
nice class. Very nice class, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavatana.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Beautiful class, Mataji. Thank you so
Mataji.
much. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, I have no words to describe the class, Mataji. Such nectar was flowing from you. And so wonderfully you recited all the shlokas, Mataji. If you have, any opportunity, please also teach us how to recite, because I get stuck with these. So very, very wonderful, Manji. The 1.5 hour passed.
Oh, 1.5 hours. Sorry to
No,
cross over the time.
No, not actually 1.5 hours. 1 hour 15 minutes, but we could keep going. So we could keep going, Mataji. So it's such wonderful, such nectar. We all know about Srimad Bhagavatam, but you put it so well. You packaged it so well, Mataji. I'm sure it increases, our interest in reading this Puran, getting inspiration from you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much,
Krishna.
Mataji. It was a very nice class. I really appreciate it. And one thing you said was you're a junior to everyone else. But I want to say, there's a saying in Hindi, बड़ा हुआ तो क्या हुआ जैसे पेड़ खजूर पंथी को छाया नहीं फल लागे अति दूर. That means simply by becoming big or old or senior, it doesn't matter. I don't know how junior you are, but you have a lot of realization and a lot of knowledge. I think you're blessed by Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you so much. Thank you.
చాలా బాగుంది మాతాజీ మీరు చెప్పిన కథ దుందుకారి గోకర్ణ.
ఎవరు మాట్లాడుతున్నారు మాతాజీ?
Devi Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
If everyone can turn their videos once, it will be nice. Mataji will also, get an opportunity to meet all of us.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna
Thank
Mataji.
you so much,
everybody.
Tulsi
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna
It was an
Mataji.
excellent
Krishna.
class.
Oh, Champaklata Mataji, I could see you in between. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Jampakita
so
Mataji.
much, Hare Krishna to everybody. Mataji, the depth, the analysis, how you connected the dots. You've spoken about the importance of SB from all Puranas and all the scriptures. Beautiful, Mataji, your recitation, your analysis, the depth of your knowledge. You're really blessed by Maharaj and the Parampara. Please also bless all of us.
Mataji, the only thing I do is I listen to what all classes Prabhu gives and make good notes and then I will by heart all my notes. Every day read the notes. This is no, people who make notes get less marks, but people who read the notes, no, guides get more marks. That's the way what to do.
You're so
It's just
sweet,
what I
so
have heard,
humble.
Mataji. It's just what I have heard.
So
Actually, I
humble.
feel so guilty to take the credit because it's all what I've heard from Prabhu. His love for Bhagavatam is very infectious, actually contagious. So the whole Bhakti Yoga club is thoroughly infected. So it's just that I am in the epidemic. That's all.
We need the dust of lotus feet of you and Prabhu to grow in bhakti. So
Oh.
please bless all of us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Tanuvats to you, Mataji, to everyone.
Please come to Singapore Township and visit all of us. Please give your association. And no, all the Matajis here will be very happy if you all can visit us sometime.
Thank you
Sure,
so
Mataji.
much.
We will definitely make it, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Krishna kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Mataji, but next time when there are classes, I can join to listen, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely much. Every Tuesday we'll have something. So it'll all be there on the group, Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Hello.
Thank you, Mataji.